guys, welcome to Herbie's Reef. Today I wanted to go over some of the new things that we've been doing here, and I just thought why not start the video out with some pretty pictures of torches, because the rest of it's not going to show a whole lot of coral. It's going to be about how we've been expanding our system. And I apologize that it's been a while. We tend to stay very busy. I work a whole lot of hours with my job, and I have 3 children. They're all teenagers. And between homework and a job that keeps me very, very busy, and a wife, I don't have a lot of extra time, and I always mean to do better, and then I never do better. So here we are. We'll make this video, and hopefully I'll do better next time. But until then, hopefully you'll enjoy this one. But what's been going on here is I've been selling a whole lot of coral, and many of you guys have contacted me and through my Instagram account, through the Herbie's Reef Instagram account, and asked me how you can get a hold of stuff. And a lot of my SPS sales have been, like, I can hardly ship it because I sell so much locally, but I am starting to get to the point where my more high-end stuff is growing out, and so I will have that available to ship soon. And I find that the high-end stuff is not quite as many people buy it, so a lot of that ends up is going to be more of a shippable item. So if you guys are interested, you are welcome to contact me. Right now the easiest way is just through my Herbie's Reef. You can message me through that, and I will try to get back to you, but again, just remember I am super busy, and sometimes arranging the time for me to get it delivered and all that can be hard because my job has to work up with your schedule, and my job has very unpredictable hours. I give anesthesia and I finish when my surgeons finish. So there's no way I really can know what days I'm off, and I never know what time I will get home. So it can be difficult. But because of all the stuff we've been selling and we're just running out of room, we have decided to set up a new frag system. So I am gonna take it off the torch tank, and we're gonna move over to the new setup. All right, so here we are. We have got 3 lowboy frag tanks. And the way I've done it is I had this one built separate, and then these 2 are together. And I have a friend who does custom cabinets, and he made this one for me, and it matches really close. If you look over here to our Planet Aquarium stand, they're just really similar. This one I did in a matte finish, and just because our cabinets in this room are kind of a matte color. And so we've got these set up. And the way I've set it up, this one's gonna be my SPS grow out tank. So you can see I've got the 2 Reef Bright setups here. And I'm actually gonna try to make a way that I can raise these up when people come over so that we can do a top down of them. But I've got 2, and when I checked par numbers on this thing, in the center I can get close to 700 par. So, and then on the edges it's 3-ish. So I'll be able to kind of put the tinnitus that I want to color up with a bunch of heat. I'll do that in the middle, and then around the edges I'll have a good setup for the rest. And then on this tank, I'm going to make this kind of a frag setup. So I had these float. So unfortunately, until I get some frags in here, I had to put frag discs on them, which kind of ruins the look of it. But I had Building an Obsession make me these trays that fit this lowboy almost perfectly. And they've got feet on the bottom. So I've got almost 1,000 holes that I can put frag plugs in. And I'll probably put some grow outs in the center. So in the center of this tank, it gets as high as 350 par, and then around the edges, it can get as low as 150. So this will kind of have a little bit of room for everything, whatever I may want to, either grow outs or frags. It'll kind of be a combination. So, and then my friend made this tank to where it's actually 2 separate stands, and if I ever want to separate them, I can. So it's 2 stands that we've combined into one. He put this center trim on so that you can't tell it's 2 stands, and then there's doors that go around every single edge. So, and then there's also doors that if I ever want to separate these, I can put them on the side. And I have a piece of wood that's going to be the same color that I'm going to hide this stuff with. So I've got that going. And then this tank, I don't have the lights for it yet. I'm thinking of running radions on this one, just so if I want to play with different lighting options, I might be able to do that here. This is going to be pretty much an LPS grow out, but if I put radions on it, it's possible that I'm going to occasionally try just to cook, like sometimes things like that Matte V Rainbow Envy, I'm just having a hard time coloring that one up. I've made it much better than it was, but it's not perfect yet. So for a coral like that, if I had a radion, if say I have 2 or 3 radions over this, I could really turn up the heat over that one coral and just see if that would maybe bring the colors out more. I also can do that some with the display because I've got radions over that one. These, I can lower them, but it's real hard to increase over one coral. They pretty well blanket the tank in par. So if I lower them too much, obviously I'm gonna run all the corals that high. All right, I'm gonna take this and show you the filtration. And y'all just have to remember that I'm trying real hard to make this neater than my other tank, but it's still not perfect. So I ended up buying the clear water scrubber sump because I'm a huge fan of clear water scrubbers. And the one problem with that is I have 3 tanks combined into one sump. And I want to do that because I want to run 1 Dosetronic, 1 Alkatronic, and probably I'm going to get a Mastertronic for this. And I just don't want to buy several of those. So I wanted all 3 to run in here. And there is just not a nice way to run a Herbie Overflow on 3 tanks all into one sump, because that's 6 sets of tubing coming in here, and they need to be quiet and not drive me crazy. And at the same time, it's just a lot of tubes. So the way I did it, you can see that these 2 are with the valves on them are the left side of the Herbie Overflow, or the side that you use to adjust the water level in the overflow. And I have those going into the filtration part where the socks are. And then the overflow drains, the emergency overflows, I have them going in here, except for this one. This one is actually one of the main drains just because I could not fit them all. And I'm not sure how if I'm just gonna avoid putting that one through a filter material or what I'm gonna do, but I'll figure it out. I could possibly put a sock over just the end of that one. I don't know. But I could not figure out a neat way of doing this any better than that, so that's what we got. And then I've got the scrubber there, and I do love this sump as far as the scrubber goes, because my other ones, it takes up so much room. I have PVC stands built for them, and I hate the way they are on this. So this one, it just has the 2 little bars that go across the sump right here. I apologize, that light, maybe I should have turned it off, but you can see the bars that go across, and it sits on that. And it's a simple thing, but it just allows for that to sit on a nice surface. And then I got the Max Spec Jump Skimmer. And you could argue that I might not even need a skimmer on this tank with an algae scrubber that big, because this is really only 135 gallons total. But I just like running a scrubber. I can always turn it down, but for the pH value, I always run a scrubber. And then over here is the return section, and I just have a J-bow, and I have the BRS heater, and then this one's gonna go to my UV sterilizer. I bought the Pentair 25 watt UV sterilizer, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna plumb that yet, so that'll be later to be determined. And then this is just a small aquarium that I'm gonna use for my top off water. So that's under the sump part. And then I think you guys will be impressed if you've seen my electrical in the other tanks. This one definitely is starting out to look better. I went with the Hydros controller because I'm not a huge Neptune fan, so nobody hate me for that. I know a lot of you guys love them, but for me, I love Alkatronic, and the Hydros syncs with the Alkatronic, so they won me over with that. I've actually been so impressed with this thing. It's just so easy to program for a guy that's not very tech savvy. It's been very easy to program. I like how I can buy the other modules and have the collective set up to where if one dies, the other one takes over. I like that these power strips are only $40. And I love that it syncs with my Alkatronic, so that's pretty cool. And I went ahead, the crazy thing on this is I was going to get the same old Tunzi top off that I always get, but this controller with their top off, so it's got an eye that sees the water level, and then a pump that hooked to it. The controller, the pump, and the eye were only $250, and that Tenzi one is $200. So I thought that's really a steal, considering 50 bucks more, and I get a controller that does temperature and all the other stuff. And I've actually ordered another little box for it so that I can. This is the waste container. I'm using this for the waste container from Alcatronic. I used to dump back in the aquarium, but I don't know. One of my tanks, I'm having issues with the barium being slightly high. So I've just been playing with not dumping it back to the aquarium to see if possibly that's what it's from. I'm using the fake Alcatronic reagent that you get from Amazon. It's just sulfuric acid. If anyone needs to know more about that, I can let you know. But basically it's $40 a bottle for the same exact size bottle as Alcatronic sells for 100 and something. So I just use that, and I don't know if maybe has a little bit of barium in it. I don't know, it seems unlikely, but I thought it was worth a try, just see if it would lower the levels. So I'm putting the waste in there, and I got an eye that will let me know when that's full. And I also got another eye that will let me know when this top off over here, I guess you can't see it because of all the pink light, but when that top off is full. And then we have the Alcatronic here, and I've got a space for a Dosetronic, but since COVID has happened, they can't get them shipped over here well, so I am stuck with no Dosetronic. But the good news is I don't need to dose this tank right now anyways, so as soon as they come in, I'll have a spot for it, and until then, it's empty. And then I've tried to do, this is all my power supplies for all those Reef Brights, because I have 15 Reef Brights, so I have 15 power supplies. So it's not super neat, but if you saw the rat's nest in my other room, this is really good for me. And then I've still got work to do. Like, I'm going to put this up high. This is one of the pumps. And then some of this behind the electric board is kind of a mess, but I'm getting there. I've been zip tying it and working on it, and eventually it'll get there. I'm going to have this tank look much neater than the other one. Maybe not as good as you guys that are real OCD, but I hope to have it there. And I think that's the majority of what's going on here. I just have, the way I plumbed it, I have one pump that controls all three, so I have mostly hard plumbing with a little bit of soft between some of the areas where it was just hard to get. And I think that's mostly it. So these are coming along, and I'll try to keep you guys updated on the progress. Here's that other little frag tank we've got with just a bunch of grow out stuff, and I'm doing a ChemiClean treatment right now. I do that every 3 months on any tank that holds Euphilia. Just think it keeps the bacteria problems down. So everything's kind of closed up because I've got so many bubbles going in there. So it doesn't look beautiful. Here's our new aquascape for the big tank. It's been in here a couple of months. It's totally cycled, but I'm gonna let it cycle more. In fact, I may put a fish in here and keep it going for another 3 or 4 months before I actually switch out that aquascape. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I hope you guys will like the video. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe.